So we have some big news. Pot producer Hydropothecary wins 200-ton Quebec supply deal. 200 ton. 200 ton? That's right. 200 ton. This was given by Canada Cowboys Big Green Egger. Thank you for sharing this, my friend. You are a scholar, my friend. And that is the power of the people sharing information. And what we do here at Rich TV Live is we dissect it to bring you the best information that is actually being a catalyst for this company. Let's talk about it. Focusing early efforts on its home province is paying off for Quebec marijuana producer, the Hydropothecary Corp. The Gatineau-based company on Wednesday said it signed a 5-year supply agreement with Quebec's alcohol distributor that could exceed 200 metric tons of cannabis products ahead of Canada's expected pot legalization this year. The agreement strengthens the producer's grip on about a third of Quebec's market. That is huge and could be worth more than, are you ready for this? 1 billion. That's right, 1 billion for the Hydropothecary Corp. I mean, I don't think you really understand what this means. 795 million. According to Chief Executive Officer Sebastien St. Louis. So you're telling me this company's got $1 billion worth of business and they're trading at $4.21? Well, look at these indicators. These indicators are pointing up. See the blue, how it's pointing right up, how it's crossed the orange? The red is still underneath the line. There's 1 bar up. I'm telling you right now, the way this is looking, look at these indicators up here. Look at this blue line right up. Look at how the green is pointing up. Look at how the red is turned up. The green is turned up. This green is turned down, but these indicators, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 5 are turned up. This green right here is buying pressure up. We could see liftoff here. And the interesting thing about this company is that they've actually just been going up. Quietly, they have been going up. So, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Hydropothecary, okay? But you need to. You need to put them on your watch list. You need to have them on your radar. And what we do here on Rich TV Live is we bring you the information first, okay? We bring it to you before anybody else on the planet. So please, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you like the Hydropothecary Corp, please let me know. Comment down below. If you have news about another company that you want me to share, share it in the comment section, and I will give you a shout out for sharing that information. Or email me at richtvlive@gmail.com. I will go through all the information. I dissect it. I try to find the best information. And this is the type of information that is a catalyst right now for Hydropothecary. And you can see the way it has been climbing. And their news is big news. And if we go to bar chart, THCX, and we take a look at the Hydropothecary. Let's do that. Look at this. It's a 72% strong buy. In a market that is a bear market, the Hydropothecary is a 72% buy with a strongest short-term outlook on maintaining the current direction. So this has strength. Longer term, the trend strength is weak. Longer term indicators fully support a continuation of the trend. A company with $1 billion of business at $4. Things that make you go, doesn't it? And they have been higher, folks. They have gone higher. What do you think? Do you think this is a buy? The Hydropothecary Corp is in the business of producing, marketing, and selling of medical marijuana through its indirect, wholly owned subsidiary. The product lines include H2, Decarb, and Elixir #1. And this is a company that we need to look at. Take a look at this. Over the last month, up 25.75%. Over the last 3 months, up 37.7%. And over the last year, up 281%. So it has been as low as $1.10. It is currently at $4.21. And it has been as high on January 23rd of this year of $5.25. What do you think? I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about this? Do you think it's a winner? I think it's a winner. Even at these prices, with $1 billion of business coming, all the indicators look to me like they're starting to point up. I think it's a big winner. And Hydropothecary has been climbing. Look at its 5-day chart. It was at $3.35. Okay? And that was on April 10th, 3 days ago. Look at this move it has been making. Look at this move. The explosion. This is when their news came out. I've allowed the news to digest a little bit. I wanted to see how it was going to trade. And it just went down, and then it just came back up, and it's been climbing back up. So it seems to be just walking up. This needs to be something that I want to put into my portfolio. I really like Hydropothecary Corporation. I think this news is huge. Let's read more. The shares jumped as much as 18% to $4.18 in Toronto Wednesday, the biggest climb in 4 months, giving the company a market value of more than $700 million. We're now one of the few companies that can give visibility with great certainty on its revenue, St. Louis said in a phone interview. So, because of this news, I may have to now redo my top 10. I've been thinking about it a lot. There's been a lot of things that have been happening over the last couple months, and I'm going to be doing a new top 10. And I may have to put Hydropothecary in my top 10. If you think that you have anything that should be in my top 10, please let me know. Comment. I want to know. Do you think that Hydropothecary should be in the top 10? Are they in your top 10? You know, I like looking at other people's top 10 to see if I'm missing something. I try to find the biggest and the best companies. This company just looks huge. And, you know, one of the guys that brought me this first, actually, I'm going to try to call him. He's the guy that brought me this first. His name is Attila. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk to this guy, but this guy is insane. This guy knows more about this industry than anybody that I know as far as investing in it. Let's give him a call. He told me about Hydropothecary first. He knows about it really, 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 really well. Let's see if he answers. For some reason it's not ringing. Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hi, Attila.
Hey, Rich. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm live right now. Are you available to talk for a few minutes?
Yeah, for sure. I got a few minutes.
I wanted to ask you about the news about Hydropothecary. Did you hear about the news?
Well, that they're going to be supplying the Liquor Control Board of Quebec.
Yeah, it's worth $1 billion.
Yeah, they didn't really put a price on it when I read the article there, but wow, yeah, that's amazing. That's big news.
Yeah, and remember, you were the first one that broke this company to our community.
Yeah, that was almost like last year when I brought that Hydropothecary to everybody's attention there, and it was just, it was just small now, and, I really kind of haven't been watching it that much because, frankly, they didn't put out a tremendous amount of news over that period of time, but obviously they're catching up to the rest of these companies and making big moves. So for sure, that's a big move. But they're not the only ones going to be supplying the Quebec province, and I don't think they alone could supply the need for the marijuana out there, anyways. Because let's face it, it's the second biggest populated province. So there'll be a tremendous amount of marijuana sales in that province. So yeah, they need. I think Aphria and Aurora have also agreed to supply them as well. And Aurora, I know you're talking a little bit about Hydropothecary, but Aurora is making the same sort of moves too, right? I mean, they have an agreement there with the Quebec government also, and I think also with Alberta, I believe, to supply their LCBO type marijuana sales platform. So yeah, tremendous news for Hydropothecary for sure. I was looking at
they're becoming the preferred supplier for Quebec.
Well, yeah, because
that's huge. That's enormous.
Yeah,
that's the second largest province in Canada, behind Ontario.
Yeah, for sure. And and the great thing there is that not as many companies in Quebec as there are in Ontario. And from what I understand, Rich, I read an article there that most of these provinces, whatever form of sales that they're going to have, they're going to try and use the licensed producers within that province to supply the government or the medicinal, not necessarily medicinal, but the recreational use in those provinces. So the provinces are going to kind of lean towards the licensed producers within that province to supply their needs. But let's face it, some of these companies are making such big moves, like Aurora. I keep saying Aurora. I know you're talking about Hydropothecary, but Aurora is just making so many big moves internationally. They're positioning themselves big time, and for the price of Aurora right now, I think it's a great opportunity to get in. I think even in short term, we can see probably 2-3 times a pop there for Aurora in the near future.
What do you think about Hydropothecary? With this news, do you think that you could see them going higher, like at $4? Why have you not invested in them?
Well, personally myself, Rich, one of the main reasons is because I prefer to invest in the companies that are up and coming, the Abcans, the HIP, ATT.
But you don't think Hydropothecary at $4 is a buy, considering Canopy Growth Corp is at $27, I believe, right now. So.
Well, for sure, Rich. I do think it's a great buy, but I think everybody has their own individual preference to which stock they want to invest in. I think Hydropothecary for sure is an awesome investment opportunity. I just myself right now, I think that I can personally, as an investor, I think that putting my money in a company like HIP or ATT might bring me greater returns in the nearer term. But for sure, this Hydropothecary is definitely going to lock up the sales there in Quebec. And let's face it, Quebec has got a tremendous population, second largest province in the country, right? So for sure, Hydropothecary is going to start flying for sure. But yeah, I can see it. I can see it easily getting up to where being like American, or it'll be an easy $10-12 stock, even I think in the next 6 months, easy.
The U.S. symbol for anyone that's watching is HYYDF, and THCX in Canada on the TSX Venture Exchange. What's up, Kenny Lee? Kenny Lee just joined us in the group chat. How you doing today, Cloud Ninja? What's up? So yeah, I just wanted to ask you about your opinion on On Hydropothecary, because I know you brought it to us first. I'm shocked that you never invested in it. It's at $4.20, and it's a buy on bar chart, and it is up 37% in the last 3 months and 25% in the last month. So it's one of the only stocks that's going up in a bear market.
Yeah, for sure. This news they got now for that province there, that they're going to be supplying. They're going to be the major supplier for that province, for sure, is super big news. You know,
it's a 72% buy on bar chart.
You know, Rich, and I kind of heard that about a month ago. I read an article that the provinces will be using the licensed producers that are within that province to supply them their marijuana. And I kind of knew that's, you know, they already kind of suggested that Hydropothecary is probably one of the only ones. I think there might be another licensed producer now in Quebec, but Hydropothecary was the only licensed producer in Quebec at one time. So, but there's a couple others that are kind of starting to show up in Quebec now also. But the province definitely, for sure, is leaning towards Hydropothecary to supply their marijuana. They said that about a month ago, and I guess it wasn't really cut in stone at that time, but I kind of had a feeling that that's what they were going to do. They kind of suggested it. So, and here it is now. Now it's for sure. And look at the stock move because of it. I wish I would have had my eye on it, my radar on it. I mean, when I heard about that news about a month ago about Hydropothecary, I really should have jumped on it then, because I looked at the stock and it was like $3.30 there, like literally weeks ago. So, you know, it would have been great to jump on it. It would have been a really nice gain, and that's only going to keep going up now from this point on.
Yeah, I think that with this news, they're saying that they want to be up there with the top producers like Aurora Cannabis and Canopy Growth Corp. So they're talking big, and, you know, based on the way they're talking, I think they can do it because they have the room to grow. Like, they've got a third of Quebec locked up.
Yeah.
A third of Quebec. Sure. Quebec is huge. So can you imagine how big this could be? Like, long term?
It's definitely going to be big, too, for sure, because, you know, they're one of the few, I think, Apria and Aurora also have a little bit of a stake there, not as much as Hydropothecary, because, again, like I said, it's their preferred choice of licensed producer within that province. So, and you know, again, I said that before, that these provinces, each province is, it's not like the states, but, you know, each province has their preferred choice of licensed producer who they want to get it from. But, you know, there are a couple other provinces out here, Rich, that don't even have a marijuana licensed producer. I think Newfoundland just recently has now somebody in there wanting to start licensed production facility in Newfoundland. I mean, some of these provinces are just not really jumping on the marijuana bandwagon as much as the others are. I don't know exactly why. It could be just their political view on marijuana. I don't know, but, you know. And another thing about Quebec, though, you know, I got to say, Rich, this is great news for Hydropothecary, but at the same time, the Quebec government, each one of the provinces are going to have their own implementation of their own regulations. So, you know, some provinces may wait until the age limit of 21 for people to be able to buy marijuana in those particular provinces. But here in Ontario, it's 19. I believe in Quebec it's going to be also 19, but I also understand that they're going to have a low tolerance. The police force out in Quebec are going to have, or the Quebec government is going to have a zero tolerance process for people smoking marijuana only within their homes. So you're not going to have these little cafes like we have here in Ontario where you can go, and these vape lounges that are starting to pop up. I hear that you might be able to go to a vape lounge specifically just to smoke marijuana. So I don't know if they're going to allow that sort of thing. They said that's not going to be going on in Quebec for the time being, but maybe later, who knows what they might do. But yeah, they're not going to make it all that easy for people to smoke marijuana in public. That's for sure. But you're not allowed to anyway.
Well, they're not gonna want people driving. That's gonna be the big problem.
Absolutely not.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to have people do it in their homes, right?
For sure. And you know what? And as far as buying it from the so-called French version of the liquor store or whatever, but you're going to be able to get it online too. I mean, I read that in the same article that you're going to be able to purchase it online also. So you'll get it delivered. You know, you can get it delivered to your home even in Quebec. So that won't be a problem. You know, some of these people in Quebec, I mean, it's a pretty large province. How far are some people going to have to travel to be able to buy marijuana in Quebec? I don't know how many liquor stores. I guess they're going to have quite a few. Well, it's going to be a version of a liquor store, right? It's going to be like a cannabis. Over here, we're going to have cannabis control board. Like the LCBO, but it's going to be the Cannabis Control Board. So along the lines of a liquor control board, but
wow! Check this out. Yeah. Hydropothecary will be ready to offer its products to other parts of the country in 2019, after it's completed the planned expansion of its growing capacity. St. Louis said the company is in talks with Ontario, British Columbia, Manitoba, and Alberta. Wow. So they're not interested in just working in Quebec. They want to be all over the country. The agreement with Quebec is the largest of its kind for the recreational market.
Yeah, see, I don't think we're going to have these kind of regulatory. Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, let's face it, some of these other bigger companies like Afria and like Afcan is even dealing with Australia and Germany. And these are the kind of companies that are going to be positioning themselves internationally. I mean, those are the companies that are going to see some really big gains here in the future because, you know, making first moves is key. And I think, like, you know, as the industry evolves, we're going to see some of these, like we already know, we're going to see a lot of these companies, the smaller ones being bought up by the bigger ones. Everything will start getting amalgamated. And there's only going to be a few handful of giants that are going to control the entire market because they'll just keep scooping up a lot of the smaller companies. Canopy Grow is a perfect example of what they've been doing pretty much from the start of this industry. They've been doing nothing but acquiring companies and making, you know, acquisitions and mergers and stuff. So, you know, and Aurora is doing pretty much the same thing. Afria also, you know. So yeah, Hydropothecary is going to be a monster for sure. I would really prefer to like to see them start making some moves internationally because this market's going to be tremendous. It's going to be tremendous for Canada. The U.S., I think, is going to be way behind. And let's face it, first mover, Canada's going to have quite a big play in the world markets when it comes to marijuana. And, you know, U.S. is going to be lagging behind. And meanwhile, Canada is going to make all these establish themselves internationally all over the world. And Canada's going to be the #1 exporter eventually, I think, for marijuana.
Emblem Corp is up 15% today. Have you ever looked at them? EMC is their symbol. They're at $1.53. It's a pretty big company now at $1.53. I think a lot of these great companies have been beaten down, and there's some really great opportunities right now. What do you think?
Oh, for sure, Emblem. And I just don't hear them making a lot of moves. Like, you don't hear them in the news. I mean, yeah, they're there and everything, but I don't see them making tremendous moves. I mean, let's face it, look at Supreme. If you want to make a comparison at all, look at Supreme. They're worth more than Emblem. And to tell you the truth, Supreme is, again, one of the companies that just is not really making the kind of moves that I would like to see. And so I would prefer to associate, although I hold a great deal of Supreme shares right now. But I think there's better opportunity with some of these other companies. And Supreme doesn't seem to have the ambition that a lot of these other companies have. I mean, I can only say that Aurora, when they made that Canamed acquisition of Canamed, that was a bold move. They paid a lot of money. They diluted the shares, but that was the cost and that they were willing to take to make themselves the number 2 company in the world right now. So
what do you think? Some people have been asking me about when they think the shares will stop trading on Canamed. Like, what's going to happen there? Like, they've amalgamated.
I've been trying to figure that out myself, Rich. I don't know why. I thought they had completed the transition from the Canamed shares to the Aurora. And of recently, that the CEO for Canamed has just recently resigned, and I kind of expected that because, let's face it, new owners, they want things done their way. They had a bit of a, let's face it, the acquisition they made was kind of not so friendly, but which turned friendly later, but at a tremendous price. I mean, personally myself, Rich, I would have preferred to see Aurora go with their original plan and to just go with the hostile takeovers, because they end up going friendly and paying double the amount that they were originally offered. And I think Aurora probably could have, it might have been a little bit nastier deal and not so friendly, but I think it would have been better for the shareholders if they just completed the hostile takeover, because actually Aurora had every right to do what they did. They were paying them fair share value at that time, and yet, Canamed just kind of dragged it out. And in a way, I kind of can understand why Canamed would do that, because let's face it, I think the CEO there was probably wanting good shareholder value for their shareholders of that stock, and they got it. So, when they started that hostile takeover, Canamed was only worth about $22. Or $23. That's what Aurora was willing to pay for them, and they could have probably done it with that hostile takeover, but they chose to take the friendlier route. But I think at a greater financial cost. It was the biggest deal ever so far. The first biggest deal, $1.1 billion to buy that company, and frankly, I was surprised that Aurora paid that kind of money, because they end up paying $40-something, $42, double what they were originally going to pay them. So, which really diluted the shares for the Aurora shareholders. So, at the cost of the shareholders, Aurora kind of made this deal, obviously strengthening their position in the marijuana industry, but at the same time, it's really the shareholders that kind of bared the brunt of that deal. But regardless, I think Aurora, at the price that we're looking at it now, I mean, it was low as I think it was as low as $6.70 at one point. I think I should have jumped in and bought some more. I hold Aurora. also. You know, I have Supreme. I hold a couple others, ATT. I think those are great upcomers. And you know, Abcan, I got a little bit of Abcan. I almost want to buy more Abcan. I got a bunch of money still sitting on the sidelines, waiting to invest, because when the big run comes, I'm going to jump in there again with, you know, some big dollars and try and make some big money, you know, 2-3 times my money in a short period of time.
All right, Attila. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to get your analysis on the company that you told us about first. I remember the Hydropothecary Corp. I'm shocked that you never bought any. It's at $4.20. I think when you told us about it, it wasn't even public, if I remember correctly.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you know, and it was just the these are the up and coming now. And look, let's face it. There's so many up and coming companies coming on board with licensed producers now. So, you know, we're going to see more acquisitions being made, and you know, that top 10 list you got, it's going to be a top 20 list eventually, right?
Well, I think with this news, I'm going to have to add Hydropothecary to my top 10. So I got to make some adjustments. I think I'm going to have to do a new top 10.
Wow, you know, and you could probably revise that top 10 probably every month the way the industry's going. I mean, think about it, Weed MD. I mean, I could go on and on about all these companies and the really great ones, you know, that, you know, just really haven't, although they're there, they just haven't made any really big enough moves to get my attention. Yes, I know they're there. You know, you're there, and I know it. But, you know, there are other companies making bigger moves and addressing bigger opportunities, and those are the ones that I prefer to invest in, because I think, you know, the people who are going to invest in them are going to want to see that. They're going to want to see, you know, some people making big moves. Those are the companies you want to invest in, the ones that are making the moves. The ones that don't make moves, and, you know, I got to say, Hydropothecary, the reason they kind of fell off my radar, because I just, frankly, haven't been hearing a lot about them in the news, you know, and I knew about them a long time ago, and, you know, they kind of were off my radar, but frankly, I maybe I should have invested in them at the time, because kind of look where they are now, and now even more so, look where they're going.
Well, I mean, so, look at them up 281% in the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have been very happy with a 300% return on your investment, because you were in early, right? You were telling us about this when it just came out, so.
Oh yeah. You know, I bought Supreme at 25 cents, Rich.
No, I know. You got in Supreme before any of us, man. You did really well on Supreme. That's why you are the medical marijuana gorilla. That's why you are Attila, the medical marijuana gorilla. If you guys go through the archives and you watch our videos from last year, we were talking about Canopy Growth Corp, Aurora Cannabis, Afria, Supreme, all of these companies when they were at like $1, $2. So now when we're looking back at these companies, right, and we're looking at the future companies, we kind of know, we have like a little bit of a roadmap because of Canopy Growth Corp. That is the company that everybody wants to emulate.
Yeah.
So everybody now is in competition with Canopy Growth Corp. Everybody wants to be like Canopy Growth Corp. Everybody's measured by Canopy Growth Corp. Canopy Growth Corp is like Bitcoin. All the altcoins are measured by Bitcoin. All the marijuana stocks are measured by Canopy Growth Corp and the HMMJ ETF. That's kind of how I measure the market. I look at those two stocks, Canopy Growth Corp, and I look at HMMJ ETF for the day. And if you look at those two stocks every day, it tells you the market sentiment, you know, essentially, right?
Right.
They control the market.
And, you know, I think if you remember correctly, who brought Kronos to your attention a long time ago too? And look where they are now.
Oh yeah, I mean they're in the Nasdaq. They've been getting beat up. So I mean I think they're at a great price to pick them up right now. Kron.
Yep, for sure.
Kron, guys. Kron, that's another monster. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your opinion. I wanted to get your opinion on them because I know you brought it to us first. So I thought, you know, this would be some big news and we could talk about it, and I'd like to know what you thought. So keep your eye on it. You know, I don't think you should be sleeping on this one. It's right at, you know what the price is right now, believe it or not?
Well, I saw last I looked, what, 436 or something like that?
No, it's perfectly placed at 420.
Okay, so it's actually come down a couple pennies since I looked at it this morning. And because of the news, I heard the news, so I thought, okay, let's look at Hydropothecary. And, yeah, it's done well. It's, would have been nice to snipe that there about a couple weeks ago because I could have made an easy buck easily there, I think, on the spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, it went from $1 to $4.20 right now. So
yeah.
It's perfectly priced at $4.20 on Friday the 13th. So,
yeah.
those numbers are just, those numbers are perfect right now. They just have to stay there. It's Friday the 13th. They're at 420. I mean, what else could you ask for? It's perfect.
Yeah. What do you think? It's funny when you mention 420 because that's exactly the symbol for the marijuana industry is 420. That's the little kind of the backdoor kind of indicator for the marijuana industry, right? 420. That's what it all revolves around. But what do you think about 420 coming up? Do you think, last year we were hoping for big gains on 420. Everyone was, celebrating marijuana, and it's coming to legalization. And I was very disappointed that it really didn't do anything on that day. On the 420, I expected the stocks to just go pop, and frankly, they didn't do all that much at all on that day. So, what do you think is going to happen this time around on 420? You think they will have more momentum, or are you just going to sit on the sidelines and wait and see what it does? I'm waiting for the big pop, Rick. It's happening shortly. The big pop is coming. I don't know. I wish I had that crystal ball, man. But, the big pop is coming. When I start to see these moves, when I start to see, 10% a day for at least 2 days straight, man, I'm jumping in, no problem. And I might even been waiting too long. 2 days too long.
Well, the thing I've been always is what I always tell everybody, right, in our community. I was like, when everybody's crying, I'm buying.
Yeah.
I'm buying all the time, man. So sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, but at the end of the day, I'm buying because these assets are assets that we're going to dream of buying at these prices 5 years down the road. So you got to just accumulate as many of these great assets as you can, and we're in a newly growing, newly regulated industry. So, the sky's the limit. I have to try to keep reminding people. People panic sell. They're like, oh, I'm out. I'm like, well, it's like when you have a baby, you got to give it time to grow, right?
Yeah.
You can't expect it to be like a mature adult when it doesn't even know how to walk and talk. Well, these companies are so small, they're not even into production yet. So when they actually get into production and they get into revenue, there's only a few of them that are actually in revenue. So when they actually get into production, they get into revenue, sky's the limit, man. So I look at these companies like Hydropothecary, $1 billion company at $4, and all I'm thinking is I need 10,000 shares as soon as possible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because this is going to $10 at some point. So.
Well, you make a really good point, Rich, because, Hydropothecary being one of only two licensed producers in Quebec, you can bet that they're going to get a tremendous amount of attention. And I saw the numbers. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I saw the numbers that they expect the amount of kilograms they expect to sell to the province, and it's amazing. It's going to blow everybody's mind. Hydropothecary for sure is going to be a 2-3 banger in the near term. I think easy. It'll be over $10 stock in a short amount of time.
Well, yeah, I mean, with this news and them wanting to be one of the top 5 players, that gives them room for blue sky. And like I said, they're one of the few companies in this bear market over the last few months that has been climbing secretly.
Yeah.
Secretly,
yes.
I feel ashamed that I haven't really noticed. Quietly and secretly.
Very quietly.
right? I mean, if you look at their 3-month chart, I mean, they're just coming off a bottom. They've done it 3 times. Seems like they've done this. They get to 420 and then they come back down. So seems like 420 is around their resistance based on the 3-month chart. So it's going to be interesting to see. This is pretty huge news. So they should be able to, you know, break through this resistance. But, you know, if you look at their chart over the last month, 3 months, and over the last year, they've only been going up.
Yeah.
They've steadily been going up. So I feel a little ashamed that I haven't really participated in this. I'm going to participate in this. I'm going to own this. I think this news just has got me excited. I need to have some shares of this company.
For sure, for sure. You know, I think we need to keep an eye on a few, you know, at least 5 or 6 of these companies real closely, because I think there's going to be some big moves. And coming from some of the, like Abcan, we've talked about Abcan so much. At this price right now, it's a steal. How can you not want to buy any Abcan at that price? You know, I live fairly close. You know that I live fairly close from the Abcan facility, and I drive by every once in a while just to see their progress and stuff. And I posted something on the group chat there. Showed a picture of them breaking ground on their second expansion, which is great to see and great. You know, I've been waiting for them to get the machinery in there and clear that ground ready for construction. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to take a drive-by there today just to take a look at the, you know, winter's gone. I expect to see a lot more progress with machinery over there. So it's been almost 2 weeks since I've drove by. I'm going to drive by again and see, maybe I'll take a picture and post it on the group chat and see, keep them posted on the progress with Abcan. But, you know, Abcan, I love Abcan. There's so many, Rich, you know, there's so many of them that I like, up-and-coming ones, and, you know, the ones we've been watching for the longest time now, you know, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time of the year for it. You know, the closer we're coming to recreational, and I would not be surprised, Rich, if we get a surprise announcement, a government announcement of that July 1st date being met, that the Conservatives made a real big attempt at pushing back the implementation date of recreational marijuana. So we still may meet that July 1st date. Trudeau, I know, wants to keep his promise. So hopefully there's something in play, and the government may announce something. And I even, you know, I wish it was true, but I even heard that maybe even sooner than July 1st. So, got my fingers crossed. We may get a surprise announcement in the next month or so, but I expect to hear something in the next 6 weeks about that sort of type of news that I'm talking about right now. But I have a feeling we're going to meet that July 1st date, and we may not have to wait till August.
You know, the biggest thing that I'm proud of is that I've been positioning myself so that when the explosion happens, I'm ready. You know, like I feel very comfortable right now with the amount of cryptocurrency and marijuana stocks that I'm holding. I'll be honest with you. I feel very comfortable.
You know,
very comfortable. I've just been accumulating. And while everybody's been crying, I've been buying, and I've been trying to tell people, I'm like, guys, when it's down, that's when you buy. I've been trying to explain it to people, but people got it all twisted. Everybody's got it twisted. You know, it's like they trade and they think that they have to make money in a day or in an hour. But Warren Buffett, the best investor ever, has never traded like that. So if you're not willing to follow in the footsteps of the best investor ever, who do you really want to follow? You want to follow all the people that have fallen?
No, not really. And that's why a lot of people, I think, got out of the crypto. You know, we watched the market cap go down and down and down. It's kind of painful to watch it on a weekly basis going down as much as it has. I mean, we were almost at that $1 trillion mark point, and only now are we starting to make our way back up the market cap. So it's good to see. I hope it continues to run. I feel like I missed out on a few opportunities in the crypto too, but then again, marijuana is more my forte, and but I also love the cryptocurrencies. and I think a lot of other people were so intrigued with what was going on in the market with cryptocurrencies because there was a tremendous amount of people investing, people who've never heard of cryptocurrencies. It was just as new to them as the marijuana industry. So everyone was jumping on board. I mean, you know, when you wake up in the morning and the first news you hear on the news channels in the morning is, well, Bitcoin has now hit $20,000. I mean, how can you ignore that? So people were jumping on board big time, and I think then all of a sudden it started to back off. I think people got nervous, especially the newbies who jumped in thinking, oh, you know, this is an industry we're going to miss out on. So they jumped on it with the FOMO and at the wrong time because it kind of just started to retract. You know, people started to lose faith in it. All the negative information that was being made about, you know, BitConnect and all the Texas situation, and then later on North Carolina joined in on that, and you know, crypto was getting banned, or the news of people wanting to ban crypto, and I'm glad to see it's making a comeback. I'm excited for both those industries. That they're both starting to take off, and I hope they continue to do so.
People have to understand that there are a lot bigger people than we are involved in these markets. And because of that, they all have their own plan. They all have their own agenda. So just like we would have an agenda at our job, their job is to control these markets. They're called market makers. And market makers will take stocks up and they'll take them down. So just like they go down, they will eventually go up. That is a guarantee. In the markets, they always go up and down. It's like a roller coaster. It's like trying to expect a roller coaster not to go up. You're going to go up at some point. And you're going to go down at some point. That's why I try to tell people to take your profit and run. It's always been my strategy, take your profit and run, because they are going to go up and down. That's why I don't agree with selling for a loss. I focus more on finding good companies that are going to last 20 years, that are undervalued, that are going to grow. So think about it. All the medical marijuana companies have products that people want. They are in an industry that is growing, and they have a license from the government. So if you got a license from the government, you got a product that people want, and you're not even in production, well, when you get into production, you start generating revenues, and your revenues start growing quarter after quarter. And you know that these Canadian companies, they're frugal. They don't spend their money. So the bank account just starts growing exponentially. Well, that's why you see Hydropothecary Growth Corp at, $27. And what I'm saying is Hydropothecary Corp at $4, at $4.20 right now, perfectly priced. I mean, I think this is a no-brainer, Attila.
For sure.
Long term.
For sure.
Long term. Yeah, it could go back to $2. It could. It could go back to $2. But long term, it could also go to 100. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, these companies, like, you don't get $1 billion company usually trading at $4 that has money in the bank and no debt. These Canadian companies are like that. They're going to have no debt. They're going to have money in the bank, and they have a product that makes them money. Now, why are they going to have no debt? Because they have stock. So they can use their stock to go and acquire other companies as opposed to using cash.
Yeah.
So that's why
the deal. That's the deal Aurora kind of made with the Canamed deal there. There was a partial cash, mostly stock kind of a deal.
Well, exactly. So because when you're public, you don't have to use cash. You can use your stock, which you print, to go and acquire your growth. This is what I've been saying since the beginning. Bigger companies, they acquire their growth. Google acquires their growth. Facebook is acquiring their growth. Facebook acquired WhatsApp. Google acquired YouTube. Big companies acquire their growth. Just like Hydropothecary Growth Corp acquired Corona. And Hydropothecary Growth Corp and Aurora Cannabis acquired Canamed. A company that's an $8 stock, Aurora Cannabis, an $8 stock, okay? They go and acquire a $30 stock. How does that make sense?
Right.
It doesn't even.
I couldn't.
It doesn't.
I couldn't figure that out.
It doesn't even make sense. Like, how does that make sense?
No, I couldn't wrap my head around that.
So,
it was,
explain that to me. So, your CanMed is at $29.85. And then Aurora goes and acquires them, and they're at $8. So, that must mean that Aurora Cannabis is hugely undervalued. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I would think so. You know, they're considered to be the number 2 company in Canada now. So most likely the world. I assume it's within the world because nobody else is on the marijuana bandwagon as much as Canada is right now. So, and you know, I'm just so glad I get the opportunity to take part in this kind of investment opportunity because. We won't see this kind of opportunity in our lifetime again. Probably not unless they legalize cocaine.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. It's not just investing in the markets, okay? There are thousands of jobs being generated all across North America and all across the world, all across the world, and an industry that used to be illegal. For you to really grasp the severity of this, an industry that used to be considered illegal is now considered legal by the government and is giving people licenses to make billions of dollars. To make billions of dollars, to really understand the scope of what we're dealing with here and what is happening here. The government is giving companies like Hydropothecary a license to make billions of dollars. And we, the public, have the opportunity to buy their stock at $4.18 right now. So I feel privileged to even have this opportunity because when the elite really get their hands on this and really start positioning themselves, if they haven't already, and they decide to take them up, we are going to have the opportunity of a lifetime. And when these were really down and everybody was crying, I was buying and I was trying to explain to people that's the time to buy. That is our opportunity. You know, when we see them down, that is our opportunity.
You know, and ultimately, you know, we want to try and catch them at their ultimate bottom, but that's very hard to predict. That's why I've been kind of just watching it. I've been just holding. You know, most of my stocks, probably just like you, Rich, are probably in the red, but we know exactly where they're all going anyway. Doesn't matter if they're in the red. They're going to be all green.
Well, but, if your strategy is to buy in the red, then you're usually going to go in the red. That's just the way it goes. If your strategy is to buy in the red, you usually go in the red. But if your strategy is to hold long term, look at the chart and ask yourself if you think you're going to lose. Because Hydropothecary's chart has never gone down. Yeah, short term, maybe they've gone down. But long term, they've been climbing up. I mean, 1 month, look at the numbers. Over the last month, 25%. Over the last 3 months, 37%. Over the last year, 281%. When has it gone down? I mean, if you look at their chart, it's just been steadily rising. So there are opportunities out there for you. You just got to look at them. And remember, Rich TV Live is strictly for education, entertainment purposes. We are not licensed advisors, okay? I'm just like you guys trying to figure this out. If you guys agree with me, please let me know. If you disagree with me, I'd like to know as well. I just read the charts. I read the indicators. They can change hour to hour, minute by minute, second by second based on news. Good news, bad news. Myself and Attila, we're just investors just like you guys. But just to be a part of it, just to be in early, this is like being in Bitcoin when Bitcoin first was getting started. Right? Like, that's absolutely. Like for a lot of these companies, right? You know, and we're involved in cryptocurrencies too. So, like I said, I feel very lucky to be in this industry, in these two industries, but to actually be in the industry and not just investing, but actually be working in the industries. That is where there's huge potential, Attila. Like, remember, governments are giving you the ability to make millions and billions if you get a license. So anybody's available to get these licenses. So there's opportunity here, and there's different opportunities and different types of ways to make money through CBDs, through medicinal marijuana, through hemp. There's so many opportunities being created. It's mind-boggling. And to be a part of it And for anyone that wants to really just kind of change their life, they got to look at what's in front of them, because there's opportunities that are being created everywhere in cryptocurrencies and the medicinal marijuana, cannabinoid, hemp sectors and cannabis sectors. Like, these are industries that are blossoming and growing legally, and they are going to become regulated heavily. So to be involved in any capacity is amazing, but to be involved in many capacities and have your hands involved in many areas could change your life. And it could help you, could help you financially.
And Rich, you know, just to point out there, I mean, there's only, you know, only the banks are just starting to really get involved in the marijuana industry. Not so much in the States, because their regulatory, federally, their regulations won't allow them to grow the way that they could be growing. You know, they need to do something down there in the States to get a jump on their industry down there. But you know, it's a tremendous country to be. You know, they have a tremendous population. Let's face it. So, but you know, Canada's making their moves all around the world right now, which is what really needs to be done. So, but getting back to, you know, these institutional investors who haven't really jumped on board. Only a few really have we seen now. You know, that 10% stake that company made in weed in Canopy Grow, that Constellation Brands, who makes the what is it, that beer, that
Corona, yes.
You know, and yet they bought 10% of their company. What a deal that was. And there's only going to be bigger deals like that coming up in the future. And when we start seeing all this institutional investment, you're going to watch them halt the shares every few times a day on most of these stocks. I predict that. They're going to be halting the shares. People are going to be going crazy when the institutional investors get on board and the share prices start to go up dramatically. You're going to see them getting halted several times a day. We saw that already a couple times in the past. We saw, you know, Abcan get halted twice in one day. We've seen Aurora get halted twice in one day. I mean, we're going to see more of that later on down the road, especially when the institutional boys jump on board big time. Well, look out then. You can just start planning your retirement.
Well, that's what I've been trying to, you know, let everybody know is, you know, this is not the day trader's paradise. This is more of about accumulation. Because if you accumulate the best assets right now, companies like Aurora Cannabis, I don't understand why they're at $8 and then Canopy is at $27. Like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. They should be closer to Canopy's price. So I believe they will have an explosion at some point, and you will see them go much higher. Now, we've seen them at 15. I believe they're going to go way past that. Okay? So I really like Aurora Cannabis. At $8, oh my goodness, I think it's
absolutely
a no-brainer.
Some of it, you know, I bought it and then I sold it. I bought some more back, and it's one that every day I'm going to check news on Aurora, and because when they're going to explode. Look, they just made another move. I don't know if you're aware of it. I think I did send you something there, but they've also made a deal with. Remember, I brought a company to you that we never hear too much about them in the news. Only recently have I seen something. International Cannabis Corp out of Uruguay.
ICC, ICC,
right? ICC.
Yeah.
I brought that to you last year too, right?
Yeah, and that one's done really well.
Yeah, but you know, those shares, I'd like to see them climb a little more. But they're not the type of company they're a Canadian company, but they're doing business out of Uruguay, and Uruguay is legal for marijuana. But I know that Aurora just signed some deal, and I was surprised because International Cannabis Corp, I thought, would make a bigger impact in the marijuana industry over there in Uruguay. But Aurora has also made another deal with another pharmaceutical company out in Uruguay to supply them with their medical marijuana needs. Not only for research, but for medical purposes. And, you know, everyone should keep in mind that the medical marijuana is really where, in the end, is where we're going to see some really big gains. So any of these companies that are focusing directly on the medical marijuana industry, I think long term, those companies are going to just like do tremendously, just really tremendously.
Yeah, like CBW.
Yes, exactly.
Cannabis Wheaton is a company, and how many partners do they have now? 16, I believe.
Oh God, I can't even count them. It's got to be 20 something, over 20. Got to be over 20 by now. AppCan is one of them, right? AppCan is one of their holdings, and I got to tell you that AppCan, this is something I don't know if everyone knows, but AppCan was trying to break into the industry and on a medical level because they were focused specifically on medical. And I feel a little bad for AppCan because they kind of wasted a little bit of time, but doesn't matter. They're going to be tremendous. They wasted a little bit of time because they were focusing so heavily in the medical that a lot of the investors who toured through the AppCan facility, when they started to talk to the CEO of AppCan about their plans for the recreational, they didn't have a lot of plans for recreational because they told them, look, we're growing medicinal marijuana, and this is what we're focusing on. And when they made that news available to these investors, they pretty much said, well, thank you, you got a nice facility, but nice talking to you, see you later. And they didn't invest in them because everyone's focusing on the recreation. And I think AppCan is doing a great thing now because they finally got on board, realized what the investors want and what, where the money's going to be also. Everybody wanted to see investment in the recreational industry, and AppCan wasn't focusing on that. They finally got on board. CBW gave them the money to grow their industry there and grow, gave them the $50 million to be able to expand their operations, and now they are a great deal of their company is focused on the recreational, but they're also going to have the medical side. And I got to say that AppCan is looked at by Health Canada as one of the top medicinal marijuana companies in this entire industry because of their, and I've said this several times, I think you'll remember, Rich, I said this several times, that they grow consistently identical medical marijuana from each crop to the next crop. Everything about the medical marijuana they grow is strictly medicinal, and Health Canada loves them for that. And I think that this is another one of these companies, also like ATE, who is focusing on medical medications for the medical industry. You can see them starting to pop now, this ATE, but AppCan has been doing that for a long time, the medicinal part, and I think that they're a company that's probably going to end up eventually, mark my words, they're going to be picked up by one of the big pharmas for their medicinal marijuana.
Wow. So
I think AppCan at this price, I think, is a super good price myself also.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I bought AppCan way higher. I'm down on my AppCan a lot, but it's okay. Like I said, I believe AppCan one day will be well over $10. So I'm not even remotely worried.
And what I love about it, it's I'm looking at it now, it's $1.38. Well, it's $1.40 now. So, AppCan, they got some great stuff up and coming, I think, for $1.38. I think it's a super good buy. So, you know, the world is our oyster right now when it comes to the medical marijuana stocks or any of the marijuana stocks. You know, they're almost all good plays, and
I mean, like we're talking about $1, $2, and I mean, one day they could be at 20, 30, 40, 50, $100. So the opportunity for investors is enormous. The opportunity for people to get into the industries, whether it's working at a store, owning your own store. Like, I have a friend of mine, he's a soccer coach. He tells me he just opened up a dispensary. I'm just laughing.
Wow.
I'm like, what is going on? You know? So,
I wish I was in BC. I wish I was in your neighborhood.
It's
buddy,
crazy
because,
out here. It's crazy out here
BC,
right now. It's like everywhere. There's dispensaries everywhere. You know? And like old ladies are walking. Old ladies are walking in for the first time at like 80 years old, and they're buying edibles.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Rich, you know, I got a few aches and pains myself, you know, and the other day, this the first time that I've ever bought edibles, and I actually took a snapshot and put it on the WhatsApp. But I tried some. I'm having I have issues with sleeping and stuff, and a little bit of pain here and there. So I specifically asked for something that's going to help me with that. So the guy at the dispensary that sold me these, it's called Shatter Bar, but it has something like 500 milligrams of actual shatter, some form of shatter in the chocolate bar. So you kind of estimate the milligrams, but anyways, I ate what would be probably considered 1/5 of this chocolate bar. So I figure I have about 5 doses, but I gotta say, some people may be able to get more out of it because I myself probably have a pretty good tolerance for marijuana. I've used it for quite some time, and so I thought that I might need more than the average person, but you know, some people who haven't used marijuana as long as I have, they might not need as much. But I gotta say that for the $30 that I spent, and I'm sure these prices will probably come down a bit later, but for the $30, I took 1/5 of a dose of what I would consider 1/5 of a dose of this bar, and I felt so good. My pains were gone away. I felt that I could easily fall asleep at any time that I wanted to, but I was actually enjoying the sensation of the edibles. My muscles were so relaxed. I just felt so good, you know. I would recommend it, but you know, again, you know, do not drive. Do not drive under the influence. I recommend anyone do not drive under the influence. Although my sensations, I felt like, and I don't want to sound like a guy who's invincible, but I felt like I could probably handle driving if I wanted to. I just prefer not to. I prefer not to do so. That's just my own opinion. Don't want to take the risk, and you know, should you get into an accident and then you're tested for whatever, and they find that you're under the influence, then you're the one who's going to be charged. So I prefer not to drive under the influence of it. So, but again, I felt like I was in total control of everything. I didn't feel like I was slowing down, or my reaction time, I think, was all right there. But, you know, again, I did really enjoy it, though. So I see edibles becoming a big part of this industry. And like you were saying earlier there, Rich, they estimated $22 billion industry per year. I think that's a very modest estimate considering all the other things that marijuana can do in the clothing industry, and just so many different ways. I truly believe that we're looking at a $50-60 billion industry with all the different things that they can do with marijuana. The most misunderstood plant in the world, and only now are they finding out the tremendous uses for this plant. It has more uses than any other agricultural plant known to man. So really get that around your head. Think about it. It really is the most misunderstood plant. We should have been utilizing the benefits of this plant a long time ago.
I agree. All right, Attila, thank you for joining us, my friend. Have yourself a great weekend. Really excited to see this great news. It's exciting to see good news in this industry that we both love, that we believe in, that we've invested in, that we've profited from, and we hope to profit from handsomely in the future. We'll talk again, my friend. Keep up the great work. If you ever have anything that's newsworthy, please send it to me, Attila. I know you always do. I'm going to continue to read through all those materials, and I will get to them and bring it. And I will bring it to the people. I will bring it to the people.
I know you get tons of emails. I know from lots of other people too, Rich. And I've sent you something recently too. Also, without actually, I usually contact you and let you know I've sent you something. But yeah, check your emails, buddy, because you probably got so much on the go right now. I don't know how you even sleep, Rich. You're involved in so much stuff there right now that I don't know. Do you sleep?
I do. I sleep very well at night. I do. I sleep very well at night. I sleep very well. I sleep very well because I know that we are in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, for sure, Rich.
All right, buddy. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Buddy.
Have a nice weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Right there, that's Attila, the medical marijuana gorilla. And he knows what he's talking about, and he loves this industry. So, Hydropothecary, guys. It's a big one. We've been going over an hour. I don't even know what happened there. It was supposed to be like a 10-minute video. Somehow it turned into an hour. All right. Thank you for joining us. Please, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button and hit that bell for notifications if you want to get updates 24/7. We bring you the news, and we bring it to you first. We bring you the breaking news. We bring you the biggest and the baddest news. We brought it to you once again. Here it is, Hydropothecary Corp. Wins 200-ton Quebec supply deal. It's a big winner. You can book it. This is your boy Rich, and I'm out. Peace.